Welcome everybody to On the Go podcast with Mike. And say my name, Mike. Say my name.
Pause.
Ali Dubai.
uh, Thank you for joining us again for another week, people. My crazy ass co-host, Holly.
So guys, you're gonna be
Mike,
seeing me drink this Ghost. We are not sponsored by them. So we are looking for sponsorship from anybody who's willing to sponsor us. So I do drink these. So if you guys do want to sponsor us, I'll drink yours on the podcast and promote it.
pause. God, Lee, dude.
Pause. Brother, did you catch the Canelo Alvarez versus whoever that guy was, his fight last night?
Yes, it was. Good fight.
I didn't see it. Can you
Young
tell me
Mexican
about it?
dude. Nice slugfest. Canelo put him on his butt. First time he was knocked down in the fourth round,
Mm-hmm.
but he got up and Canelo was using this combination that he commonly uses. He throws the left jab, right uppercut, then left hook to the body. And when he threw the right uppercut, it caught Son flush on the chin. And then he still hit him with the left hook to the body, but the right hook to the chin was what put him down in the fourth round. He got up.
Okay, so
He
it was
finished
a
the
left,
fight. It was
it
a
was
good
a
fight.
left to the body and then the right hook after?
No, the right hook came before the left to the body, but on his way down, he caught the left to the body. It's straight jab, right uppercut, hook to the body. He kept on it throughout the night.
He could have gotten clipped. Like he took a chance with that uppercut.
Yeah, he was fighting a younger kid. Kid was letting his hands go. It was a pretty good fight, but
Mhm.
yeah, it was a good fight. Good fight. Younger kid. He was about 6 years, I think 7 years younger than Canelo. Um, did you
Yo,
hear that
Canelo is a one
Canelo
of a
wants
kind, brother. Canelo is a
200
one of a kind.
million? Huh?
Canelo is a one of a kind. But what did you
I'm
just
not too
say?
impressed with him. I'm not too impressed with him. I think if he gets in there with a Crawford or somebody, he'll get spanked. But he gets hit. He gets hit too easily.
Oh, whoa, okay, so
But
hold on. You talking about Crawford and Canelo? You saying like Crawford's gonna wash him, or what do you think?
he definitely take Canelo out into the deep waters and put him on his butt.
That
He put Canelo down. Canelo takes too many hits. He's too easy to hit. Um, I was surprised when Triple G couldn't put him down, but I think he was just a little too busy and evasive for Triple G. But I can definitely see Crawford putting him on his butt. He wants $200 million to fight Benavidez. Now, is that blatantly circumventing a fight or what?
Bro, all I know is like nowadays, with boxing, there's so much money involved. I'm not quite sure how their contract works. I'm more
Yeah.
familiar with UFC in terms of like how they get paid, who can demand more and whatnot. But
Mm-hmm.
one thing I can say is boxers be asking for some shit that they're not worth all the time. I'm gonna straight up say it. Is like I swear to God, bro. Everyone thinks that they can make the Manny Pacquiao money, that they can make Canelo money. It's like, bro, Canelo has all of Mexico Hispanic watching. That's why Canelo can make that money, bro. Like if I was a box, Amir Khan. Remember Amir Khan,
Yeah, yeah.
my twin. So, bro, he was. I feel like he was getting paid quite a buck because he was getting all the Pakistani and all the Southeast Asian
Who
community.
you
And
bring into the fight, right? Who can, yeah, what kind of, even in the amateurs, right? They try to get you to bring people to the fight.
yeah.
How big of a crowd, how big of a draw you are. And that's what would determine. There was one guy who used to fight, and he fought a lot of Hispanic fighters, even in pay-per-view fights, because they they showed up for their fighters.
Yeah,
So if you
always.
fought those Spanish fighters, you know that they're gonna bring their following with them, and that's who can you
100%,
bring to the fight?
100%, bro. They got their countrymen's back. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's lost in Americans, right? Like Americans don't really like pretty much root for their fighters. Like
It depends.
Well, think about it, bro. That one guy, when he fought Conor McGregor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, like, the Americans were supporting Conor McGregor. Irish was
Right.
always supporting Conor McGregor. So, what I'm saying
Yeah,
is,
yeah. Connor definitely brought out a mean, big, heavy Irish crowd. You know, um, shout out to Connor. Yeah, yeah. And he hasn't been the same since that fight. He made so much money. This dude got so fat and comfortable. It's so funny. I can't get mad at him, bro. I mean, you get that pay, you get that check, and you look at that check, and you're like, man, I might do this again. I might not.
bro, let me
Yeah,
tell you
dude.
something, man. Let me tell you something. So Connor set to fight Michael Chandler, right? That fight is set.
Mhm.
So you finally give that poor man a break. Made sure this nigga waited until like he was 38 years old and then give him this fight.
Beat
However,
up an
bro,
old man.
yeah, but however, man, let me tell you something, bro. Connor can pull his shit out. He can pull out the fight in the last second and fuck with Michael Chandler if he wants to.
What are they making this fight, you know?
In July. Or a matter of fact, it's actually next month, bro. Actually, no,
I'm
July.
talking about money
July.
wise. Money wise, what does that
Or,
payday look
I
like?
don't know. When like Connor's getting 80%, UFC is getting 15%, Chandler's getting 5%. I don't know.
Let me see what that payout looks like.
Connor's gonna, but I just hope Connor wins, bro. Because I really don't. I like Michael Chandler. I do. But it's like I don't like. Like I really want Connor to go out on top, bro. Like if he's done a lot for the sport, and he's been getting his ass handed to him for the past couple of fights.
Chandler?
So, bro, fucking Habib basically spanked him,
Or are
and
you talking about Connor getting his handed to him?
from the last couple of fights, yeah, bro, look what Habib did to him, and on top of that,
That
look, sorry,
Khabib is a different kind of animal,
okay,
fam.
forget Dustin Poirier twice. Look what he did to him.
Yeah. But see, now I'm not sure. Well, both of those fights after he fought his biggest fight of his
Yeah,
career,
yeah,
that's what I'm telling you, dude.
no,
He
that's
was too fat, way too comfortable to be back
exactly.
in that hunger he had from being on welfare, eating free cheese or whatever they give you over there in Ireland when you down and out. That's gone, fam. He had he got thousands of hookers, all the drugs. This dude is having the time of his life, man. He's not hungry anymore. You got to remember that this is a poor man's sport. These combat sports are poor man's sport. You don't get trust fund babies in there fighting for their life. You dig what I'm saying? It's not gonna happen.
Yo, personally, man, that sucks because I remember when Connor was first coming in, I was a big fan of his, right? I was a big fan of his, not so much during the Habib times because I mean, like, I'm Muslim, so it's very, like, when he was talking crap to Habib, that kind of hit home, but I understand it's for the fight and whatever. I forgive him for that. But, bro, when he was on his grind, the motivation that he was spitting out, you could see in his eyes. It was a completely different demeanor. You could see it in the interviews. He would like look at opponents and just look at them like, I'm gonna go through you. You're nothing you can do to stop me. And then he was so swift. His craft was so on point, bro. Even his trash talking, the conviction was so real. And then after he got that big payday, right? Everything was forced. You could see it in the press conference, man. It sucks.
Right. Now I'm not fighting to pay bills anymore, right? Win or lose, these bills are paid. These bills are getting paid.
Mad
So,
paid, bro.
before I had to fight to pay the bills, and then I had to make sure it was a good enough fight to make sure I earned enough the next fight to carry me through next year. Now, dude, these bills are gonna get paid as long as I live. I'm not hungry. That hunger, dude,
Bro, not just the
leaves.
bills, man. Not just the bills. Every single hedonistic thing ever imaginable that he wants to do, that's gonna get paid. Anything he wants gonna happen. Forget about it, bro. I mean, he's out there in Saudi Arabia hanging out with Ronaldo, which was actually pretty funny. I don't know if you saw that clip.
No, I didn't.
Ronaldo like there was a meme going around that Ronaldo was getting tired and sick of Connor, and you should see Connor's face like
Yeah.
And
He's
then
annoying as hell.
that annoying, bro. There was a video of Conor McGregor literally just like, oh my God, the great art. You see, oh, right there. I want to watch this. He's gonna go down. Like he was just constantly in Ronaldo's ear. Ronaldo was like,
He's
bro, let
coked
me
up.
just watch
Niggas
this,
in Saudi
bro.
Arabia coked up.
Man, so
Hmm.
Mike, bro, what is it, bro? Like the hunger. What is the real, forget the cliche reason. Why is it there's a certain time in an individual's life, a hunger happens, and like Conor McGregor, right? Let's analyze him. He got the hunger. He had the hunger. He had it. No question about it. We can't doubt that. A crazy hunger
Yeah.
that led him to the levels that he reached. What causes that hunger? Number one. Number two, how do you maintain that hunger as you're getting praises? Because prior to that big fat check, he was still maintaining the hunger when he was making like 1 to 2 millions, winning championship. He had that hunger there, you know what I mean? And 2 to 3 million is still way better than living on
Yeah.
20K a year. So
You can blow 22, 3 million on a drug habit on the weekends. Um, it's still spendable. You got to remember, as a fighter, you might make 2 or 3 million, but you still got management. You got to pay your trainers. You know what I mean? It's a lot to. You got to pay taxes on that, right? So that money goes quick, pretty fast. The more money you make, the more your lifestyle increases. You know, you go from renting an apartment to $500,000 house, mortgage. You have these payments, you have maintenance, you have all of these different costs. And
I
it
see
just
what you
adds up,
mean.
dude, relative to getting 28, 30 million in one lump sum. You give 10 million in fees, so you pay another 5, 7 in taxes. You got 10 million to play with, right? You can invest it. You get you a good financial guy. You're getting at least on 10 million, you can get a nice return of $500,000 a year, interest
Easy.
on that money. So it's sustainable now. Um, to
Gotcha. two to
maintain
three
the
million
hunger,
is not
you
as sustainable. That's what you mean, right? Like
yeah, I
the
mean,
money he was
for the
making
average,
wasn't sustainable.
it wasn't if you don't have the fiscal discipline, right? For the average person who has a fiscal discipline, who has a little bit of investment insight, they can sustain on 2, 3 million dollars. But everybody doesn't have that discipline. Everybody's not cheap like the typical Indian or Chinese or Jew, right?
First of
Some
all,
people get that
first of
money
all,
and act like a
we are
nigga.
not cheap.
Well,
We are not cheap. We are smart.
niggas is cheap, but check it, right? A lot of people had those what I call nigga tendencies, right? You want to look good. So you want to flash, you want to floss, you want to be fresh. As soon as you get your hands on a couple dollars, you want to, you're buying material things that you're buying liabilities, not assets, right?
Yeah.
So you get a bigger house, you get a bigger car, you go, you buy your girlfriend a bigger ring, you do all of
Yeah.
these things, and none of this produces any money.
No, no, no.
Um,
Your want goes
all,
up.
all of it creates more bills, which means you have to go out and do it again.
Mm,
Meaning any money you bring in is being sucked right out,
yeah.
because you haven't found a sustainable way to bring in income. You haven't really invested it properly, so you have to keep going out to work.
Can I add
Some
on
of
to
us,
that
bro,
really
some,
quick?
some of us put that work in, man. Where
Can I add on to
you
that really
you
quick?
huh?
What you just said, I just want to add on to that
Yeah.
because I was just recently watching a video of Bill Gates, and Bill Gates said in his younger interview, he said that he always made sure like he maintained a level of living standard in a very pretty much as needed basis. So whatever he needs. So this way it does not get in the way of paying his employees, paying the people, and cause that type of issue. So that's something Bill Gates did that really, you know,
Warren Buffett did it.
mm,
There was a picture someone put up. Well, there was a meme going around too that I heard about, that all of these name brand stuffs are for poor people and middle class people to feel like they're rich, right? You know how foolish you feel as a very wealthy person walking around with a bunch of name brand stuff? You just look stupid. right? I mean, who does that? There was a picture of Buffett, Gates, Zuckerberg, and I'm not sure if it was Steve Jobs, but if you look at all of these dudes, none of them have on expensive watches, Gucci, no name brand nonsense. All of this stuff is just wasted. It's for the consumer mind. Those are not creative. That's not a creative mindset, right?
Gotcha.
If you look at the black billionaire in Nigeria, this black guy, he owns construction companies in Nigeria. I think he owns
Niger.
huh?
No, go on, continue.
Yeah. And he you don't you I've never really seen someone who's really wealthy with this nonsense on. And they keep their spending habits very frugal, and the discipline is there. New money you see with all of this name brand, the bags, the clothes, because they're trying to make a statement to people who don't have the money. When you're around people
Very
with
true.
money, you feel out of place with that stuff on. You feel foolish because they know you don't have any money. You know, if I'm Gucci, I was in the park the other day with my daughter in Chelsea Park in Manhattan, and it's a bunch of Asians and whites in that area, and most of them live in that area, right? But mind you, in this park, this it's in the middle of a housing project, right? So you have lower income people living in the housing projects, um, and these affluent people who live in the area around the housing projects also bring their kids to this park. All of them pretty dressed down, typical stuff. One black guy in the park, he has on, was it Chanel? This nigga had on a whole Chanel suit. No bull crap. He had the Chanel shades on, the whole suit. Mind you, it was too hot for this shit, but he had it on. And I'm looking at this nigga, and I'm looking at the kid he with, and I'm like, God damn, man, everybody in this park probably got more money than this nigga, but he feels like he's doing it with all of this. And it could have been fake, right? It could have been real. It just shows you where people's values are. Because everybody that was there probably had money for their kids' college. I would have liked to see this nigga kid's bank account.
Can I make a comment on that now? No, the
Yeah.
thing now here's a comment on that, right? It's a lot of these things people don't know, and it's gonna sound contradicting, but it's not their fault in a way because there's a lack of education, right? And it is education, and the education is practice. Basically, what I'm saying is you have to really understand that you have to get over being needy. You have to get over wanting attention from other people. And you cannot fake it. If you fake it, that's when you go and make these dumb mistakes. If you fake it, that's when you're going to go and buy these brands that you cannot afford. And you cannot make a logical decision on really looking at the numbers you have and making right decision as in what funds your life, which is more important than the brands. But to really see the world that way, you have to really just not be needy. Listen, man, one thing I remember when I really stopped giving a crap about what people think, it's when I started paying bills. I was like, bro, these guys are not gonna pay my bills. Why do I care about impressing them? This chick, dude, this $100 dinner is gonna cost me this much, and this girl, let me see, do I really like her? Do I really want to get to know her? Do I really see myself being with her? I'll be honest, probably not. So you know what? There's no need to go out on a date with her. It's This is only gonna help your life, man. If anybody, like, this is from my
That was
experience.
very, very valid, bro.
Mm.
You stopped caring what people thought about you the minute that you started paying your own bills. Wow. Um, that says a lot. That says a lot. My thing was, my joy and happiness always comes from being able to take care of my family. And I've learned that from watching, not because I grew up with a decent men in my life, but because watching other men who did it.
Hmm.
I see the nigga that's always fresh in the hood getting to smash all of these chicks, and they all looking at him and wanting him because he's always looking good. But that's very rarely the man you see take care of his family,
What are you talking
right?
about?
The
I do
guy
take care of
that
my family.
Yeah, exactly. The guy that you see with the shoes running down, run down shoes, the pants. And it's not that he's necessarily in a 9 to 5 mode. He could be owning his own business. It's just that his priorities are different.
Yeah,
And when your priorities are your family and your family's maintained, I see that right in the results. I have a lot of dudes that I grew up with, even to this day, as we up in age. Um, Dudes are worrying about being fresh. You see them looking good, right? And it says a lot about their values because those dudes tend to not be able to take care of their families. Not to say that the dudes that are taking care of their families can't get fresh. It's a choice. My priorities are in this mortgage. My priorities is in my little one's college tuition. My priorities are just different, right? So I'm not really concerned about the new sneakers looking good. You know what I mean? Wasting, overspending on an outfit to impress a bunch of people who don't even matter. Like you said, those people don't pay your bills. So why would you care about
absolutely.
their opinion of you?
Absolutely not. You know, I had the pleasure to live in a Jewish community in Brooklyn, right, Midwood, and
Mm,
I really learned from this the Jewish community of like really, especially the Hasidic, the Orthodox one, right? They just wear the same outfit every single day, and their priorities are very different. Whenever they spend money, they think about, from what I've learned from my community members, right? They always think about is I'm taking money away from my kids' tuition. So, do I really want to get a bagel from the local deli, or can I just go to the grocery store and buy entire bread and cream cheese, and it'll cost me like, 16 cents versus spending $4 on a bagel? So, these are the ways of looking at the world because of the priorities you're talking about, as in,
that's an interesting assessment. Not to cut you off, but I
yeah,
heard they only go shopping once a year for like material non-essentials.
I had no idea. I don't know.
I think a friend of mine was telling me that they literally have one day a year in which they like what I guess we would consider splurging, but they would go buy things that they didn't really need, but they would spend it on. Um,
It's like a
they
cheat
used to
day,
be
or it's like a cheat day
yeah,
for the
pretty
cheap.
much like a cheat day would be for a guy on a strict diet or in his regiment. Yeah, I mean that discipline is commendable, bro. I mean they're the best examples of it. I have a client who's a young Jewish guy. I'm not gonna say his name, but this dude dad died and he lived very frugal the whole life. He works hard. He's a real smart young guy. And his dad owned 10 buildings, 10 apartment buildings. He owned a couple of condos in Florida. Like they none of them knew that he owned this stuff until he passed. And when he passed, they inherited this stuff, and the mom was trying to get rid of this because she didn't know how to manage all of this stuff. She didn't know nothing about none of this stuff. She had some condos in Florida she was selling, and this kid literally, he's good, he's smart, and he was busting his butt at work, but he never had to work again. He told me he was like, Mike, I don't have to work. My dad left us straight, and we didn't have any idea he was. Um, there was another story about a Jewish guy I know who had a station wagon, broken window, cardboard on it. He literally borrowed a suit from his best friend to go to his daughter's wedding. This dude owned like 40 buildings in Manhattan. Um, Never spent any money. Very frugal. We can laugh and joke about how they look, but our kids will go to their kids for jobs when the time comes. Um, and if it's all about taking care of your family, the proof is in the pudding. Men take care of their families,
They're
boys
very
take care of
professional.
themselves.
The thing is, they're very professional. You know what I mean? Like, from
Hmm.
my Jewish friends that, I've asked them the question. I'm like, what makes the Jewish community very different than everybody else, And one thing, a very good friend of mine, actually, Dave, man, I miss you, bro, if you ever see this. But nonetheless, they said they're very professional. Everything is professional, and maturity is they stay away from drama in a workforce. And it's very much like, they have a good sense of common sense, as in, like, okay, you don't bring your life problems to your job. You at your job to focus on the work and just relax and just be very disciplined and go home. You know what I mean? And then we have a very good understanding, man. By the way, did you know the Jewish community had prize fighters back in the day? I recently learned that.
Nah, I didn't even know that they actually engaged in combat fighting. They very rarely do manual labor, much less combat fighting.
No, I recently learned that, bro. So like, I was with a 94-year-old dude. Very cool guy, man. He went through the Vietnam. He was in the war. He was drafted, and prior to that, he
Hmm.
lived through the Great Depression and while the World War II was going on. And this is a great time to move on to this on discussion, actually. I was actually speaking to him about, why is our generation that everybody says is very soft? I hear that all the time, versus the World War II generations, and how come it kept on getting softer and softer? And he said, and it made clear sense to me. He goes, I mean, the thing is very simple. We had to go to a war. So you guys just didn't go to a war. If you take all the BS away, we went to a war. That's why we were forced to be tough. There was no other choice about it. If you were not tough, you would die, like literally die. So our generation is the first generation that is not doing life-threatening, I guess, a war. And therefore, we are, like we don't really see life as its true nature and have an appreciation for that. And he said that because of that, we are just getting mad at little problems. If we're on a red light, if somebody cuts us off on the highway, if somebody's being mean to us, talking rude to us, if somebody's yelling at us, we take everything to the heart. But he goes, but we like that bullshit doesn't phase us, man. We went through a war. That's how like his demeanor was. What do you think
That
about
makes
that, man?
sense. Yeah, think about what these Americans relative to people who come here from other countries. Like we what they call first world problems, right? We get mad because our ice cream is melted and stupid stuff, right? The first world problems, right? We get thin skin, and they be looking at us like, dude, I lost my whole family trying to get over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's a whole different perspective on value, the whole value system. We're worrying about, you know, somebody stepping on our shoes, or the person behind the counter not moving fast enough. Where I was in a Greek coffee shop once, and me and the lady were conversating. She was just talking about back home how they would just nobody came in and bought pastries and coffee and just left. When you come in, you talk about how your family's doing. You parlay for a little while when you kick
heart
it.
to heart. Yeah, you mingle.
She said everybody when they come here, she said everybody come and goes. She said now it's even worse because nobody even makes eye contact with you. They come in looking at their phone, place their order, leave looking at their phone. You never even made eye contact with the person.
Bro, like my grandfather would have punched somebody in the face if you don't make eye contact with them.
Right. But see, the era we're in now, this is all permissible.
Disrespectful, bro. It's straight up disrespectful. And then
But
they wonder
disrespect
why.
is accepted.
And everybody, all of us wonder why we are so freaking depressed because of the fact that, bro, you're an asshole. If you're an asshole, you're gonna be depressed, including myself. I'm not excused by this. That's what it is, bro. Disrespect, lack of like, yo, getting to know somebody else other than your own ass.
Yeah.
Pisses me
Hmm.
off, bro.
Yeah, it's getting bad and it's getting worse. We're
Yeah, like
spoiled, like
look
you
at
said.
Gaza,
You
bro.
said the old
Look
guy
at what's
told
going on
it.
in Gaza right now. Look at exactly what's going on in Gaza. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
But look how beautiful those people are, man. If you listen to what those kids say and how they talk and how they are still maintaining their strength. Um,
fasting during Ramadan.
Ramadan, bro, and they barely got anything to eat, and
They're playing, they're
it's
having fun.
yeah, the level of discipline and character commitment that these people have is unprecedented in the middle in the world period. But yeah, salutes to Gaza. Thank you for the example. Um, I wanted to start up these t-shirts too. I'll tell you about them later. I
Free
want you to collab
Palestine?
with me on them. Huh?
The Free Palestine or something?
Nah, not Free Palestine. They're completely different. Just saluting the people. I'll talk to you about that later. So before they still our ideas. But
Man,
the character over there is completely different. Like in It's not that we haven't gone through a war. We're just really spoiled over here at the expense
Bro,
of
just
everybody
literally
else.
imagine, dude, literally just imagine if something is flying down right now and hitting everything. I mean, like our boy OG in Ukraine, look what he's going through, bro. It's just imagine that. Are you
Yeah,
really gonna like I'm not I cannot compare that to my daily like I'm going there working, running a business, living a life. Bro, nothing I'm doing, all the problems that I face, all the anxiety, all of like, the headaches and everything I face. Bro, that is nothing, bro. It's like you cannot compare living
nothing.
a dream world. uh, Man,
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. The stuff that's going on in the world puts me in a state of peace mentally. I don't
peace.
let anything phase me because I know how much worse it is other places.
Yeah.
I watched two guys on the subway the other day get into an argument about one looking at the other one, and I was like, wow, um, how just shallow we can be, how comfortable we are with what we have to the point where we're willing to risk it all for nothing. And the people that are risking it all just so they can have a decent meal, so they can have a decent life. Um, yeah, it's interesting, man. I think we're just shallow as people. We've gotten way too comfortable. America has exploited the rest of the world so that we can get fat and they can maintain control over us. And they've done an
Bro,
excellent job,
but the
man. The
thing is, like,
powers that be have.
and you got to keep one thing in mind, bro. Like, we can't jump to conclusion, man. Like, it's not America. You can't. I mean, it's there's everybody all over the world that are working together. I don't think we can say it's America. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of Americans are definitely
Mhm.
afraid to say the right things, to step up for Gaza. I mean, any human who's looking at the situation has eyes. They know what's going on. You know what I mean? No matter what, it's everybody admits that they need help. For me and you, it's very different because we're Muslims, so it hits closer to home. That's why we make a comment. I feel like back in the day, same situation with black people. It's I'm very sure there were a lot of Americans back in the day that just saw what was going on with black people being slaves and the way they were being treated by, um, you know, uh, uh, what is that word, bro? What is that word? Come on, man. You know
What?
I'm talking about that word that you
Jim
call
Crow,
the slave
civil
owners.
rights.
Yeah, no, the slave owners. What do you call them? KKK individuals, whatever, bro. Those guys, right? The slave owners and whatnot. I'm pretty sure there were people like, yo, this is wrong. This is wrong. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? But I'm telling you, it's very easy to label a country on the backbone of certain group of people who are committing the violent act and categorize everybody in that matter. That's why we should not be generalizing. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't want to generalize.
Yeah.
When I say America, I mean the system of America. America is a
Agreed.
corporation, it's a
Agreed.
system, and it is created on the back end ideal of exploitation and capitalism. Um, we can root for the people in Gaza and wish them to have their land, but we have to acknowledge the fact that we are actually occupying Native American land as we speak, right? We're on the land of the natives as we speak. None of us are willing to walk out of our homes and go to a reservation and tell those people, you can live in my house, I'll live in your on this reservation in place of you. Um, we can all be outraged. Those same people that are overseas outraged about it right now would love to come to America and occupy occupied land. This is occupied land. There's still Native Americans here. They still live on reservations. Nobody's willing to say, okay, let's free America and give it back to the natives. Everybody's still trying to come here to get education, better health care, increase the opportunities for their families, and at the expense of the Native Americans. These
You
people
know,
on
so
reservations, they don't have access to clean water a lot of times. They're being flooded with alcohol and drugs. Um, they're not allowed to be, they're not treated as citizens. Their criminality is treated differently. They're being exploited,
Okay, but why are we
all in the
blaming
name.
America for this? Why are we blaming America when if it was any other part of the world would do the exact same thing? It's just human nature.
I agree.
America,
I agree. Tribalism has
and
been
I'll take it one
around
step
since the
further.
beginning
I'll
of the
take it one
time.
step further. America is actually a lot more lenient than other parts of the world. Let me tell you, those guys would it would not be a smooth transition.
What do you mean?
So I'm from
Well, it
Pakistan,
wasn't a
right?
smooth transition for the natives. They were slaughtered. I mean, dog, they were just about put on the brink of extinction.
No, no, of course, 100%. Okay, I want to take that one back. No, that part I understand that it was a very violent transition and was back in the day when people were way more ruthless and rough. What I mean is like the modern times right now.
It's
What I'm
even
saying is
more brutal because if you take it into perspective, right? Let's take it like this. The systemicness of it. Like I said, the fact that me and you are sitting here comfortable in a space where we're completely accepting the idea that those people are there. Let me give you
no, no,
another
no, no.
example. I'm gonna
I'm
give
not
you another
accepting the
example. Hold up,
idea
check
though.
this out. Let me show you something else. The park I went to in Chelsea, I have a client who kid goes to that school. There's a school in the middle of these projects. There's a public school in the middle of these projects that there's people in those surrounding communities send their kids to those schools, to this school, because one, it's a free public school, and two, it's less costly than a private school would be in Manhattan, which would be like paying another mortgage. So they opt for this public school. Well, the kids from the families from these housing projects also get to send their kids to these schools. You know what the difference is? When you go into the school building, it is the most segregated place that you've ever seen in America. The white kids are put the white and Asian kids are put into what they call advanced placement classes. And the regular kids from them housing projects are put into regular classes. Systemically, they have already prepared these kids to an inferior position and they're conditioning them to do this. This is way worse than me being in Ukraine and knowing that Russians are trying to kill me. You're killing these kids before they even understand that they're in a fight.
Very despicable.
The way that
Not
this
cool.
country has
Very,
systemically
very despicable. Not cool.
got
But
us to participate in the annihilation of others
you have to
is
understand one thing, bro.
mind-boggling.
The thing is, you have to understand one thing. If you're gonna put it that way, it's definitely gonna seem like a very diabolical, systematic issue. But you have to understand, this is human nature. Human nature is all about control, and that's just human nature itself. You have to look at life
No,
very
I agree.
harshly.
I agree with that. I agree
Second
with
thing,
that.
but given the human nature being that, now if I look at everyone else, dude, other countries are doing way more brutal stuff versus America. I really do feel like America gets a very bad rep. You know what I mean? From a lot of people. And it's it really okay.
Name one country.
Name one country, Pakistan,
Name one
my
country.
country. Bro, the prime
Who
minister put
supports the Pakistani military?
bro, hold on, but let me tell you what
No, no, no,
no, no,
no, no, no,
no,
no.
no, no.
Who
Bro,
supports the Pakistani military?
yeah, but let me tell you something else though. What I'm saying is Pakistan, right? Their government officials runs the people. It does not matter where the upper voice comes in, they still got the green light to run the nation as you want. Correct?
Who controls those guys?
No, no, no. But let's talk about it doesn't matter about who controls them. These guys who are controlling them, they're just gonna say you're in charge. Just make sure you align with our agenda. Don't fuck shit up, right? Perfect. Now, like treat the people the way you want them to be treated. You're free to run them the way you want to run the world, run Pakistan. They go, okay, perfect, done. Now they're running Pakistan. So America is not directly telling these guys how to treat your people. These guys are treating their people the way they want to. Now, who are these guys?
Because if
Let me
they
tell you.
didn't treat them that way, they
Oh,
wouldn't be
let
in
me tell you.
power.
These guys are gangsters. Gangsters who are who are in officials. At least in America, bro. I'm sorry, Joe Biden ain't no gangster.
None of our politicians are. The
But
dudes that are gangsters we don't hear about.
in Pakistan, the people running the show are straight up gangsters, bro. They put people in a cage with a tiger and a lion just to prove a statement. You cannot do that in America. I'm saying is way more violent in other parts of the world compared to America, and I think a lot of Americans forget that because
Let me ask you this.
Mhm.
You just gave me an example of a guy putting a person in a cage with a lion and a
Tiger,
tiger.
basically me.
You think that's more violent than putting a kid in a segregated school where he's placed in an inferior position? See, in that
Physically,
cage, that
physically, I mean,
man
if
knows
you're
what
getting
he's
eaten by
up
a
against.
tiger, if you're getting eaten by a tiger, you're pretty much done. If you're in a mental situation, that is long-term torture that you will have to endure for the rest of your life. So they're both, I would say they're different, but both like horrific.
This is my point. We see, we minimize it because America has mastered the art of it. When
Mhm.
the Nazis had the Jews in Germany, they learned from America. There's a book on it. There's several books on how they studied what America had done to the Native Americans and were trying to replicate that. Like when you deal with oppression, when you deal with exploitation, America has mastered that art. I mean, they've taken the brightest minds and put them into a room and asked them how to do this and execute it without looking like bigots, right? When you look at eugenics, when you look at systemic racism, systemic segregation, when you look at these other governments, Pakistan, the Congo, anywhere else in the world, America has this influence where the leaders that go into these countries and work in the best interest of these people, they get out of there. The CIA goes remove them, and they replace them with people who work in America's favor. So when you talk about Pakistan, they just had elections over there, bro.
Yeah,
And my boy
rigged.
Khan won. He had the popular vote, but the dude that's in power, who's favored by America and the military, did not relinquish his power and his position, and he stayed in the government. This is what happens all over the world. This is why Latin America is turning away from America. Because for decades, America has meddled in their democratic elections, overthrown their governments, um, supported massacres under Pinochet and the slaughter of Allende. I mean, it's all recorded. It's all public information. And America just goes on about their business. They work within their best interest. So when you look at these third world countries and or these developing nations, and you say, "Well, it's way worse over there," but at who hands is it way worse? Because of these countries would be governed and ruled by people who work in their best interest if it wasn't for America. So when I speak of America, I speak of the powers that be. Of course, the people of America are completely different from the government of America, right? Or the people in control in America. But when you look at it on a microcosm, you have the pro-Palestinian protests down in Mississippi. You had a whole group of white American males who were protesting and, keeping their flag up, and they were completely oblivious to what's going on the other side of the world. They just knew America first. That's all they knew. I, I I've seen that
Marketing
mentality. You
branding
talk
works.
about Mississippi.
Marketing and
These were white dudes in Mississippi, which is one of the worst education systems in the country.
but bro,
So
marketing and
they
branding works very well.
oh yeah, definitely. And you're talking about guys that were probably dumber than piles of rocks, but they will go on to run and call the shots. If you look at what's her name, Marjorie Green, and a lot of these politicians, dumb as a pile of rocks, bro. There's no other country, they can't go to a developing nation and win elections. They can in America. There's no way that you can put a Donald Trump and a Barack Obama next to each other academically. There's no comparison. But one of them accomplished the same thing with minuscule academic achievements as the other one, who had the
And that's the
highest
beauty of
academic
America.
achievement. It is. It is only if you're white. there's not a dumb brown or black person that will be able to aspire or get to that
What
point
about this Indian
without
that's
being.
what about this Indian that's in the Republican Party right now that's still going to be elected? There's
He's
like,
very intelligent. If you ever heard that dude talk, he's very intelligent.
mhm.
He's far from being a pile of rocks. This is what I'm saying. We don't with our pigment, we're not gonna get into that position without a certain
But
level of
isn't he
intelligence.
getting that position right now though?
What do you mean?
On the Indian, like the Republican.
I
And
know
right
you're
now, by
talking
the way,
about.
are we does by the way, quick question. Do you consider UK to be like America or they're different?
No, same thing. Same thing.
Because in
White,
Because UK,
Anglo,
the London mayor is Pakistani, and the leader of UK right now, I forgot what they call it, prime
Indian
minister,
dude.
right?
That Indian dude
Indian,
family
yeah.
is super rich, but this is this was the new face of the second another phase of what they were doing. See, in UK and in America, the politicians don't call the shots. Corporations call the shots. Big money call the shots. Old oligarchs call the shots. So these politicians are just voices.
Has there ever been
Um,
a Jewish president or prime minister?
and I'm not sure. I
I
don't think
think,
they would ever want to. I don't think they would ever need to because they control the money behind that pulls the strings for most of these politicians.
but no, but I think over time you're gonna see a lot more diversity into the White House and whatnot. Because
It is. Look at
yeah,
the spokesman. Obama was one of the biggest marketing campaigns you've ever seen for an
exactly.
elected official. So I mean, like you just said, the UK, the brown guy in the UK, they use them as tools to mitigate their global international outreach. And so now I'm not considered racist because that was a black guy that did that. AFRICOM in Africa, the implementation of U.S. bases all through Northern Africa, um, and the Sahel was done by Barack Obama,
Dude, I just don't
right?
see. I know I understand what you're talking about, right? And I'm very curious to like really, keep listening to
Yeah.
you about the subject, but I just don't see people in power giving a crap about race.
Well, they're not in power because of race. They're in power because they're there. They can fulfill a certain obligation and duty. It's
That's what
not
I see
about
them
race.
caring about. I
They
don't see
don't
them
care
caring
about race.
about,
I agree with you.
yeah.
They care about legacy, money, right? Because I tell people this all the time. Go to the Appalachians, go to West Virginia, go out west. You'll see poor whites just as much as you see poor blacks in these hoods. I mean, this is all business at the end of the day, dog. This isn't has nothing to do with race. This is all business. Um,
So with being all business, if you're all business, right? And any businessman
mhm.
knows, like any no, I don't think any businessman is actually no, I'm not gonna go ahead and say this because I'm pretty sure like okay, I think a smart businessman would never be racist.
Yeah, a smart businessman. I agree. I completely agree with you because whenever you deal with bigoted businessmen, he's close-sided and he's gonna be blindsided at some point by his bigotry.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, look at Dave. We go back to my boy Dave Chappelle. He was saying about the 20. I forgot which year that was. I think it was 2014 when Trump won, and he was in Ohio, where he's from, and he said he was online and he seen all these faces online, and he knew that they. He said when he seen that line and that outpouring support to go vote, he knew who was going to win the election, but they didn't know what he knew. He said, and what he knew was that when Trump got in there, he wasn't fighting for them. He was fighting for him because him as a rich person, he was going to benefit from the tax breaks that this rich dude was going to implement, right? All these poor whites online are going to just be still poor whites at the end of the day. He's not fighting for you. He's fighting for me. You know what I mean? That was the mentality here. You and I both know that that's business.
That's business.
Um, People keep calling Trump racist. He had, I promise you, he probably had more black friends before he was president than any politician, white, Biden, Clinton, any of them had prior to being throughout their whole life. Throughout their whole life. Because him as a businessman, he was always in the mode of looking for opportunity. He didn't care what color you are. People use Central Park five situation in the ad he put out and used that to justify his racism or his discrimination in housing. And everything he did, all of us would have did. The chick that was that the situation happened with the Central Park Five, even though those brothers was wrongly accused, that female was his friend. So it was personal to him. It hit home. It's like, you hearing a guy got arrested after he did some violation to somebody close to you, you're happy, right? Even if you don't hear the evidence against him, you're glad somebody was apprehended and will pay, justice will be served. The discrimination with his housing thing was based on law that was in the Federal Housing Association book that allowed that insurance companies wouldn't insure your building if you rented to blacks. So when they told him, oh, you were sued for discrimination against blacks, he said everybody was doing it. They never asked him that question again because he knew that they were going to go do research and see everybody was doing it. It's a reason why Manhattan has a 99% white population, right? There's a reason for that. Those buildings were not allowed to rent to blacks. There was a systemic process put in place to filter us out. I mean, damn, Jay-Z was, when he hit a couple million, they weren't renting to him. And they found every reason in the book why not to rent to him. I still see, I talk to clients, I'm in them buildings regularly throughout the week, and I'm listening to the stipulations they put in place to keep what they would consider undesirables out of those buildings. Is still in place, even though it's no longer in the Federal Housing Authority book, which was just taken out by Ben Carson under the Trump administration. Even though those stipulations are no longer in those books, the practices are still implemented. The discriminatory approach is still played out. So, it's at the end of the day, it is business, bro. It is business. It has nothing to do with race. It's always about,
It's all about the Benjamins. One thing to take note on for what Mike just said, right, is very important to really read our Constitution, really know it. Like, something I need to do, read our Bill of Rights, read our rights, read what is in the books, really take time to run the rules and regulations of the country we live in, educate ourselves. Education is very important. Education is vital. And really, go towards the education. So a couple of notes you can take away from this podcast today is when you spend your money, think about your entire life as an entity and do not spend money on brands, on things that is feeding your neediness, but instead spend money that fulfills your life and be smart about your money. The second thing is be educational, go towards education, learn about your neighborhoods, your surroundings, what is going on. Like just read and learn and just always be curious. Brother, any last messages? Maybe on the go
um
podcast, on the go workouts with us, get ripped, get shredded, get toned. Free
thank
30-day
everyone for coming
program.
out.
The link on the bottom.
Yeah, like we were saying in the early on in the thing, tribalism has always existed. Don't take it personal. It's in our nature to look out for our own. Don't get mad when someone else does it. Put yourself in a position where you can collaborate with people that you're comfortable with working with so you can make things happen for you and them, and worry about taking care of your family. Prioritize your family and your well-being mentally, physically. Physically, you want to get in shape. Follow us on the go workouts. Come see us.
The link will
Reach
be
out to us.
below,
Send us an
everybody.
email. Let us know what your fitness goals are. If we can help you out, we both do one-on-one training. You want to meet in person? Ali's in Atlanta.
All he
I'm in New
doesn't do in
York.
person.
Ali is exclusive. He's no longer in person, but I'm quite sure he'll give you a virtual session. And if you reach out to him within the next 48 hours, I'll pay him for you to get a free first time assessment as long as you're willing to be
Free?
committed to it. I'll pay. It's free for them, and I'll pay out of pocket for the first 20 people that sign up for a free assessment with Ali.
I must
Come
have
see
wax
us,
in my
man.
ear
We're
real quick.
here.
1 second.
I'm all in it for the seed. I want to see a tribe of people following us that are fit. I want to be able to go do Tough Mudder with a bunch of people from 20 to 80 years old that can we can finish with. So follow us on the Go podcast. Follow the links at the bottom. The first 20 people in the next
Wow,
48
so I just
hours.
discovered I'm doing a Tough Mudder now with everybody. Thank you, Mike, for letting
First
me know
20
now.
people that reaches out to Ali. I got you. I'm paying for your first free assessment. Thank y'all for joining us. Y'all have a great week.
Bro, I ain't
Stay
giving
healthy.
you no
Stay fit.
discount either, man. I'm telling you right now.
Give
Take care,
out a bike
everybody.
discount.
Peace.
Peace.